God used the smallest and the least prominent of the tribes of Israel, the Levites, to rid Israel of the calf worshippers' leadership and to restore truth. God is in process today of raising up the smallest group of believers who long to learn his word, to rediscover God's written truth, to reinstitute God-ordained appointed times and worship practices, to obey his commandments. The history of the Israelites perfectly parallels the history of Christianity. If you think this isn't the case, then consider the next scriptural quote by Stephen, which is taken from the book of Amos, chapter 5, verses 25, 6, and 7. And by the way, if you were to compare this quote by Stephen as it's presented to us in the book of Acts to what's found in Amos in the complete Jewish Bible, you're going to find distinct differences. Because the complete Jewish Bible is based on the Masoretic Hebrew Bible. The quote we find coming from Stephen's mouth in this passage in Acts is taken from the Greek Septuagint. This once again points up how the synagogue differed from the temple. And the vast majority of the synagogues were Hellenist, Greek-oriented. Now, so that we can all follow along, I'm going to requote exactly what Stephen is recorded to have said in Acts chapter 7, 42 and 43. So God turned away from them and gave them over to worship the stars, as has been written in the book of the prophets. People of Israel, it wasn't to me that you offered slaughtered animals and sacrifices for 40 years in the wilderness. No, you carried the tent of Moloch and the star of your god, Rephan, the idols you made so that you could worship them. Therefore, I'm going to send you into exile beyond Babel. This is what the prophet Amos told the Israelites was their history and their condition. To say that Amos's listeners didn't much like what they heard is a monumental understatement. Thus, few believed what God's prophet Amos said about Israel and to Israel. Why didn't they accept it? Because their answer was something like, when did we gather together to worship in the place of Molech? When did we worship the god Rephan? That is, Israel didn't feel they were worshiping other gods. They sincerely believed they were worshiping their god Jehovah. But in fact, the god they worshiped was the god they imagined. Therefore, Jehovah sent them away from him. He warned them. They wouldn't listen to him. The same thing's happening today in Christian places of worship all around our globe. Thankfully, not all, of course. So the question for believers is this, and I want you to consider this carefully. Will you react as the crowd did when Peter stood before them and indicted them for believing false doctrines of men and rejecting the true word of God, whereby they repented? They wanted to know. They said, how can we change? Or will you react as do the Sanhedrin and these synagogue members when Stephen indicted them? They hardened their hearts and their minds, and they demanded that yet another of God's prophets, Stephen, who brought this word of God to them, be killed.